Howdy folks, I'm the Tall Turtle, and today we're going to talk about my texture pack update that I've been working on for Minecraft 1.14. Now, I did do update videos for Minecraft 1.13, but since it's been about a year since I've done a texture pack update video, we're going to start from the beginning. So I am running 3 visual mods right now. I am running the R3D Craft Smooth Realism 128x texture pack, which I've converted from 1.14, and that's pretty much what you see here. Like, the general stuff is RedCraft. You've got the sand and the dirt and the grass and the gravel and the stone and the ores and the trees and all that. That's RedCraft. Half the flowers, that's the RedCraft conversion that I did, which we'll talk about in detail. But then I'm also running my own add-on texture pack, which is completely separate and unrelated to RedCraft, but I call it an add-on. I'll tell you why later. And that's what you see here with the cement and these special blocks here. And if you have a keen eye, this section is what we talked about in the 1.13 videos. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a playlist linked in the description below to my update videos from 1.13. So like the beds, that's all mine. This is all mine. Basically everything you see here except a few of those doors are all mine. And we're not going to talk about that today. So RedCraft is one layer of visual mod. My own texture pack is the second layer. And then the third thing are the Sildurs enhanced default shaders, which is not a texture pack at all. But if you're wondering, that's what you're looking at with the moving trees and the leaves and the water and the amazing visual effects. So anyway, I want to break this up into some short parts. These videos, these texture pack update videos, are intended to be very short, and they're gonna post in the evenings whenever, separate from SurvivorCraft. So sometimes you get 2 videos in a day. Lucky you, right? So first of all, let's start with RedCraft. So RedCraft Smooth Realism 128x means 128 pixels per block. Hasn't been updated since 1.11. So back when 1.13 dropped, everything changed. So I converted it myself to 1.13, and now I have since further converted it to 1.14. And I do have written permission to share my conversion of the RedCraft texture pack. I don't have permission to upload it anywhere and have a mass shared. So anybody who wants it has to contact me via my email, which you can just get through my YouTube channel, whatever. And you can contact me, and I can send you a link to the RedCraft conversion for 1.14. So what does conversion mean? Well, it means I had to change pretty much every file name. You know, let's jump into first person. This is kind of ridiculous. I had to change every file name. I had to change a whole bunch of folders. I had to create a bunch of folders. I had to change the paths. I had to completely rewrite the MC Meta file. And I had to separate all the paintings. There were a few other textures I had to separate and not redo, because that's the wrong word, but I had to make some changes to a few things. Wow, that is gorgeous with this render distance, isn't it? I'm distracted by my own stuff, and I have a very near fog setting. Anyway, after the paintings, oh yes, and then I also went one step further and I converted all of the signs as well. They're over here somewhere. Where are you? There we go. So if you remember in 1.11 when RedCraft was last updated, the only sign was the oak sign. So I converted this into the other woods. So now all 6 signs are represented. Just a little bonus thing that he did. The reason why they're lighter is the side you write on is actually lighter than this. So this is the back, that's the front, that's the front, that's the back, that's the front, that's the back, that's the front, that's the back, front, back. That's a little lighter. So RedCraft converted. I didn't change any of the textures. That would be like totally illegal. I didn't steal any of the textures. That'd be totally illegal. I didn't do any textures and call them my own. That would, or do my own textures and call them RedCraft. That'd be totally illegal. I just converted everything to be compatible with 1.14. And then the bonus is I converted the oak sign to the other woods so that they're represented. So that is a RedCraft thing, converted, not changed or modified, just converted, and I have permission to share that. I just want to be very clear with my language that I use, that I didn't do anything illegal or anything, or I just converted it. I have permission to share it. It works in 1.14, and we have all the signs. that is RedCraft for you. Again, it's basically the base textures, everything in 1.11 that existed, all the grass and dirt and gravel and sand and what else? All the ores, the trees, that stuff. If it appeared in 1.12 and newer, it's not RedCraft because RedCraft hasn't been updated since 1.11. Get the idea? That is a long explanation. I just want to be very, very clear in my language because there are a lot of people out there who have been asking for my texture pack, which is great, but a lot of people are confused. Sometimes they're calling my textures RedCraft. A lot of times people are calling RedCraft my textures, and back and forth, and I just want to be very clear. RedCraft is converted by the tall turtle with permission, and that's it. End of story. Simple? All right, now let's move on to my texture pack. So my texture pack, I want to be very clear, it's completely separate and independent from RedCraft. All I do is I run my texture pack on top of RedCraft in the options setting. Okay, I'm just going to show you. Let me just show you. If I go here to options and I go to the resource packs, we'll talk about the Go painting. See, add-ons. It just sits on top of RedCraft, but it's completely separate. Okay, I just want to be very clear about that. We'll talk about the Go paintings too. Actually, let's talk about those now too, I guess. Go paintings, Kimdol. It's just paintings that are put on top of my textures, right? So the RedCraft has a 128 resolution paintings. Mine has none, but the Go paintings override everything. I forgot I was running that because it's so awesome. It just sits there. So one more time, my texture pack is completely separate and independent from RedCraft. You do not need RedCraft to run mine, and vice versa. I just call it an add-on pack because what I did is I started creating textures with the new blocks in 1.12 since RedCraft didn't have them. That was my inspiration, was 1.12 and the new blocks, which would be cement, right? Like this. So here's a good example. The quartz is RedCraft. The cement is me because cement is 1.12. Got it? The fence is RedCraft because that existed before 1.12. The glass is RedCraft. The cement is mine. The bricks is RedCraft. Get it? So you don't have to have both. I just am building mine with the blocks that weren't already existing. Now I do have plans as time goes on to go backwards and include all these blocks you see in my own texture pack, like create my own blocks from the very ground up, from like grass and dirt and everything. That's my plan someday, but not today. Today I'm just doing the 1.12, 1.13, and 1.14 stuff. So like, for example, the coral, 1.13, that's mine. That's dead, but it's mine. You get the idea. So now that we have the disclaimers out of the way, legal stuff out of the way, whatever word you want to use, let's start getting to some exciting stuff. So my texture pack completely separate. So the first thing I did for 1.13, oh yeah, by the way, these sign items, that's RedCraft because RedCraft has the signs. Let me get rid of those. There we go. First thing that I did for 1.13 is the hotbar that you see is mine. So in survival, you would have the armor icons, that's RedCraft. The health, that's RedCraft. The hunger, that's RedCraft. But the hotbar you see down here that I'm scrolling through, that is all me. That is mine. I did that. It looks really cool because it looks like the boxes are actually slanted to the right, like they're not flat, but they are flat. So those are all mine. And the blue highlight is mine. And this comes from the widgets file. So all the widgets in my texture pack are mine. So that's what you're looking through down here that I'm scrolling through with the blue highlight. Also the option menu, the brown background is mine. The bluish green highlight is mine. The font is just a generic font. You know what? It's some generic font. It's nothing special. I don't even know what feeds that font, to be honest. So I didn't do the font. It's just a generic font that's sitting on top of my widget. So the flashing green, that's mine. When you go to the world select screen and the brown background, that's mine. So the widgets file is mine, and that's what we're looking at. So new for 1.14, I created new colors, the bright blue highlight, and then the silver background that looks like a slanting, and then the dark brown border. It looks like black, but it's really dark brown. So that's the first thing I did for 1.14. Next thing I did is jungle leaves. Now you might be confused because in the past I have had my own jungle leaf texture, right? I talked about that in 113. But at the time, I was in a hurry and I wanted continuity. So I took a teeny tiny sample from the Red Craft. I took one leaf from the Red Craft and made my own jungle texture. That is no longer true. I got rid of that. I have no connection to Red Craft now. I removed that sample from my texture pack, so I am not using, I'm being very clear about this, I am not using any samples from Red Craft in my texture pack. Complete separation, 100%. So this jungle leaf texture is my new 114 texture. Brand spanking new. It is a picture of real leaves in my yard, and I put my own cocoa beans in there, and I got rid of all seams. So if you look here where the seam is, see how it's seamless in between blocks? Now it looks like there's some seams where you got some like flat leaves like right up here, but that's actually not the seam of the texture. That's just a leaf actually was like ripped off and flat. So it's completely seamless for continuity from block to block to block. Very particular detail that a lot of people overlook in their textures, I've noticed. So you can tell there's a pattern when you step back, but the pattern doesn't line up with the blocks, and that's on purpose. Very meticulous detail there. So these are my textures. I do plan on going back and doing all 6 trees with my own texture, but right now I started with jungle leaves because Red Craft was missing jungle leaves for some reason, and I wanted to have 6 custom leaves. So 5 come from Red Craft, the 6th one comes from me. Complete separation. I just want to be very clear about this. Very clear about this. This is 100% my own, nothing borrowed or anything. Completely my own. I'm really proud of that texture. It took a long time. I love it so much. It's very, very thick, as jungle leaves would be, but you can still see through it a little bit. And I got my cocoa beans in there, which if you look at the default textures, it exists, right? So that's one thing. The next thing we're going to do is doors and trap doors. So let me actually get those set up super fast, and then we'll talk about doors and trap doors. All right, so doors. Iron door, Red Craft. Let's get rid of it. Oak door, Red Craft. Spruce door, Red Craft. Jungle door, Red Craft. Acacia door, haven't gotten to it yet. So let's default. Birch door, default, haven't gotten to it. And dark oak, I did. I have my own dark oak door now. So I haven't finished these 3 yet, but I want to show you what's going on. So you may also remember from 113, I had these doors done. But again, I had borrowed teeny tiny samples from the Red Craft textures because I wanted continuity and I was in a hurry. So I just borrowed a little sliver of each. Like, I borrowed this little tiny part, that little tiny part, and that little tiny part to make the doors in 113. They looked awful, but continuity was there and it was a hurry, and I wasn't sharing my textures. They're mine, personal use, no big deal. But now, out of nowhere, my texture pack is becoming very popular. I get several requests a week for it. So I ditched the 3 doors that had borrowed elements. Again, same with the jungle leaves. I removed those teeny tiny samples that I borrowed from Red Craft. Gone. Not part of my texture pack. Completely separate. No longer exists. You can't get it from me anymore. No. So I have to do the doors again myself, completely on my own. And it's fine because I'm enjoying doing it. What is that? Oh my gosh, that scared me. So I have to do acacia yet, and I have to do birch. I haven't done those yet, but I wanted to show you what I'm doing. And here's my dark oak door, which I love very, very much. Now, I know if you were to place like dark oak planks, which I'm using, Red Craft next to it, it doesn't work, right? Well, I guess it kind of does, actually. It's not that bad. It's not, it doesn't match totally. Again, I plan on going back and making my own dark oak planks to put in my texture pack, but right now this is Red Craft, completely separate from mine, which has the door. I just run mine on top of the other one. I know I'm repeating myself, but if people are jumping around in the video, I want to be very clear. Separate texture packs, nothing shared, nothing borrowed, completely separate. And I plan on going backwards and doing all my own textures anyway someday. But anyway, because those don't work out, you could probably do, whoops, this concrete isn't, I keep calling it cement. You could do, like different types of concrete, for example. If you don't, that doesn't, well, that's not a good choice either. But anyway, building options. I know my door looks faded compared to like these textures, but when it's by itself, it looks pretty cool. I'm very proud of that door. Same thing with trap doors. Let's see, I think the only one that Redcraft had was oak and iron. I think those were the only ones. The rest of them are default, right? So this is Redcraft. This I have to make, that I have to make, that I have to make, that I have to make. That's mine. We'll talk about that in a second. That's Redcraft, yeah. So I have to make 4 more of these things. Here's my trap door. It comes from there, obviously, right? Very cool. So this one I don't have to do, that one I don't have to do. The others I have to do eventually. So this subject, even though only one is done, is doors and trapdoors. Got one done. I love it. I'm super proud of it. It might not go very well with the Redcraft like some of the other things do, but that's okay because there are many building material options. And I plan on doing everything. I plan on having 100% texture pack someday anyway. So that is all I wanted to show you. I know the normal format of these videos is going to be very short. And I'm going to say, hey, I got, these 12 textures done this week. Here are the 12 textures. That's what these videos are normally going to be. But today I really wanted to explain Redcraft separate / versus my pack that sits on top of it. Because a lot of people are confused. They think they're one and the same, and they're not. And I want to repeat myself again, but I won't. Just rewind the video, rewind the tape. So today I wanted to explain the Redcraft thing. I'm looking at my notes, and I wanted to explain the stuff I did, which are the widgets file, the widgets PNG, the jungle leaves, and the dark oak door and trap door. I don't know why I started with dark oak. I just did. So that's what I wanted to show you. Hopefully it wasn't too much. Let's get rid of, I don't have an empty slot in my hand. Let's use my own texture. Hopefully it wasn't too discombobulated. I know I repeated myself a lot, but again, I wanted to be very, very clear in this first update video, because all the subsequent update videos, I'm not going to talk about Redcraft ever again. You're never going to hear that again. You'll see it because that's like the foundation of my, world here. But the update videos are going to be my textures and what I'm doing. So what are my plans, in case you're curious? Well, pretty much everything. I'm going to do those doors and trapdoors. I'm going to do all the new utility blocks for 114, like the smoker and the blast furnace and all that. And then the dies, I have to do a whole bunch of dies now, because certain dies are actually dies now and not items. And I don't know, a whole bunch of stuff. I have like 120 textures to make. We'll see what I do. But I have my to-do list. I'll just do update videos whenever I have a good chunk of textures to show you. And that should do it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully this didn't seem too kind of dull. But I had to clarify a few things. And I think I made my point several times in a row, over and over and over. And stay tuned for some more regular Survivorcraft. And stay tuned for some periodic texture pack update videos. And I'll see you next time.